am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Good morning, one and all. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. I see you coming in. Do me a favor. I want you to share. I'm so excited about our conversation today with the amazing Oliver James. And listen, was telling him before we went live that when I came across his Instagram, I was like, that is the type of person that needs to be on Inspire. And so I'm so grateful that he said yes, to coming and hanging out with us today. Listen, if you're just stumbling upon this broadcast and you don't know who I am, what this is about, depending on where you have met me, you might know me as Rev Sue, Pastor Sue, workshop facilitator Sue, I'm from Yard, I'm from Jamaica, so we have 10 jobs. All right. So, but I am the founder of Cara Solutions LLC, which is a full digital service agency that helps individuals and organizations navigate the virtual space with confidence. And Inspire is an interview style broadcast, which is on a mission to encourage, empower, and embolden individuals to create change in their personal lives, their communities, and in the world. And so, as our guests are entrepreneurs, influencers, creatives, and others share their testimonies, tips, and tools with us, we hope that you are inspired to elevate your mindset, pursue your dreams, and to do, as the late Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon put it so eloquently, the work your soul must have. We are live right now on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on YouTube. And I want you to do me a favor. As you're coming in, I want you to connect, follow, like, subscribe. Connect, follow, like, subscribe. We're at Cara Solutions LLC. Cara Solutions LLC on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're at Inspired by Cara on Facebook and Instagram. And you can head over to our websites at www.cara-solutions.com or www.getinspired.live. You could also listen to us later if you want to take it with you. If you want to catch up on all of our previous episodes, listen later on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and on Spotify. And we are at Inspire by Cara on all of those platforms. Let me see who is in the house. I see you coming. Hey, Minister Sandy Hudson. It's so good to see you. Elevate Reverb. Hey, sis, how are you? Listen, as you're coming in, shout out where you are watching from. Hey, brother. Hey, Jermaine Green. It's so good to see you on. Oh, my goodness. Listen, the people are coming in. And you know how we do. You know the question I always ask. What is in your cup? I got to listen. I am visiting my sister. And so I'm not at home. And I got the biggest cup she had in her kitchen for my coffee. It says enjoy on the other side of it. And I absolutely will. So let me take a sip. All right. Y'all know I got coffee in my cup. Hey, Nikita from Texas. What do you have in your cup this morning? Is it water? Is it juice? Is it a smoothie? Hey, Fiona, watching from Philly. Thank you for joining us today. What you got in your cup? What you got in the cup? Some apple juice, orange juice? What is it? Listen, if you got a little something stronger in your cup, I ain't judging. It's all right if you got a little something stronger in your cup. When we had Journey Rain on a couple of weeks ago, she, shout out Journey Rain, shout out Grits and Waffles. Her restaurant is a brunch restaurant, all day brunch, and so she stayed true to form and had a mimosa. Okay, at 7 o'clock in the morning in LA. If you got something stronger, it is okay. Hey, Dr. Ireland Session, also watching with us, joining us from Dallas, Texas. Fiona has coffee in her cup. Laquita got cold brew as always. Starbucks cold brew. Minister Sandy is sipping on fresh H2O. Listen, get that water in. Get that water in. Get that water in. We're so glad that you have joined us today. I'm so excited. I'm not going to belabor the time because I really want to get into our conversation today with our guests. And please share. Jermaine's watching from NYC. Please share. Please share. Please share. Elevate with Verda's watching from NYC as well. Listen, the folks are coming in. They're hanging out. I'm so excited. We're gonna get into our conversation. Keep shouting yourself out. Keep telling me what you're drinking, and let's get into our conversation this morning. I'm so excited to welcome Oliver James, TikTok sensation, motivational speaker, and personal trainer. Now, if you have been on TikTok for any length of time, I'm pretty sure you know who Oliver James is. So this is for all of you that don't know who Oliver James is, right? So we have the esteemed privilege of speaking with this remarkable individual who has captured the hearts and minds of millions through his inspiring journey of self-discovery and transformation. Oliver embarked on a quest to learn how to read and document his progress on TikTok, where he has built a substantial following. His candid and uplifting story not only sheds light on the challenges faced by those dealing with illiteracy, but also showcases the power of resilience, perseverance, and the impact of social media on personal growth and education. And so during our conversation today, we'll explore Oliver's story, right? And delving into the motivations that drove him to share his journey, the unexpected benefits he has encountered along the way, and a pivotal role of mindset in his quest for literacy. We'll also touch on the profound impact of his experiences on his mental health and explore some of the key milestones and breakthrough moments he has achieved on this remarkable journey. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So Oliver's story serves as a beacon of hope for anyone facing their own challenges, whether related to learning, personal growth, or well-being. He has shown the world the potential of using social media as a force for positive change, and he plans to continue inspiring and educating others in the future. So as we prepare to meet Oliver, let's take a look at a video he posted just a few days ago as we prepare to welcome him to the Inspire stage.
Check this out. You've been following my journey. Can you believe it's been a year since I posted this video?
What's up? I can't read, but that's all right. Because if you've been following along, you know we're on a journey to fix that. So a couple people asked me, why didn't I learn how to read? And honestly, I didn't even know how to respond to this. So I asked my lady, and she was like, just be honest. So, to be honest, I didn't really ever think deep into it until like now when I put the video out that I can't read. And people kind of started to, respond to it and ask questions. And, I started to think deep, and I realized that, when I was young, I was abused. When I was in elementary school, I was in special education, and I didn't even like talking about that. So I never expressed, what they did, but they used to be able to like put their hands on us. And, I can go more into detail with that, but, it was really hard for me to, think about school, reading, anything that had to do with school. When I was going to school thinking about like what's going on, like truth, how can I get expelled? How can I get kicked out of this place? Most of the places. And truth, they put you from one place to another, and most of them ain't better than the last one you were in. But yeah, there was some abuse in there. I thought I was the problem because as a kid I thought I was grown, but I realize now I was the child. I was supposed to be a child. I was a problem, you know, but I was a child. That's what a child does. You know, you be a kid. But now that I'm an adult, I look at it, I'm like, no one should have been able to put their hands on me, regardless of what kind of child I was. But, you know, if you just want to hear more, you know, just let me know. So, let me read you. Gotta read. All right, I'm just going to throw it off the top. You know I'm not the best reader, so, you know, bear with me with this one. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream in the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Ooh, I think I read that one to you before, but that one's dope. All right, one more. We're going to do one more. Right off the top, I'm going to read a little bit longer one, all right? Forgiveness, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself to forgive. Forgive everybody. You are relieved of... Forgive everybody. You are relieved of carrying that burden of resentment. You really are lighter. You feel lighter. You just stop. You just drop that. Yo, this is dope because I'm kind of on that right now, you know. People hurt me in the past and I'm putting it out there like, you know, whatever, you know.
I ain't gonna lie to you, every day is a struggle with this reading journey, but I thought about even giving up today. And that video popped up and I was like, are you out of your mind? Look how far you've come. Don't you even think about it. And you too. If you started something, don't you even think about giving up. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, Oliver.
Good morning.
I'm so grateful. Listen, that I just got a little teary-eyed and I'm watching that video again. Especially, listen, don't give up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
don't give up. Look how far that you have come, and I'm so grateful for that message this morning. Thank you for joining us on Inspire.
Thank you for having me.
So, you know, the first question is like, what's in your cup? What you got? What you got in your cup this morning?
Well, actually, I didn't even think about it, but I always fill up my cup with either tea, coconut water, or water. And today's just water.
Listen, water
I
is
have
fine.
I have the coconut water. I just drank it already. So I have water in my cup.
Nothing wrong with a little water in your cup. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we've seen a little bit. You talked a little bit in that video about some of your experiences. But I want, for the Inspire audience, if you could kind of dig a little deeper. So can you tell us a bit about your story and also what served as a catalyst for you to begin your journey toward literacy and do it on TikTok?
You know, just to make it easy, what we're doing now. You know, the fact that you just said this is the most amazing part about this journey, the learning, and I've been able to hold on to some of it. Catalyst. I didn't even know what that word was like 2 days ago. So you just said it now, and the fact that I'm sitting here having a conversation with you, saying, "Wow, she just said a big word to me," that put me in a position of comfort, because I was like, I didn't understand what that stuff was, or so just being able to sit here with you and whoever else is on here, and hear words that I wasn't able to comprehend, and have a conversation with you, like an intelligent, formal conversation. If it's an argument, if it's a different disagreement, we can talk about it. We don't have to take it to a level of unknown. But when you don't know how to read, it's very similar to the type of things that happen. Quick backstory on me. I grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. When I was young, they put me in special education, like I said, on there for school. And they didn't understand completely what to do with us, I think, at that time. They were just developing like programs for kids who didn't fit the system. I think we always had it, but at this time we were becoming aware of like, okay, we have some kids that don't fit the system. So they put me in special education and they just made up their own rules at this time. I can guarantee you that's what happened, because they were beating us, locking us in rooms, doing all types of stuff that probably shouldn't have done. We can see now. It's like the gentle parenting thing we see. It wasn't a problem in the 90s or when you were growing up or something. Now you hit a kid or do something, you're like, hey, you're abusing them. Some people see it like that now. But in the past, that wasn't something that they seen. So when I was growing up, they didn't see these type of things, and they treated kids like animals in some way. Like you had to be in some program on some structure for a certain amount of time, for 20 years or whatnot, and then you go off on your own and pretty much either, in my circumstance, go to prison or die. There's not really much for you when you have a path set up. It's set up immediately for you to go to prison or die when you get a little bit older. And it happened. I ended up going to prison too. But I grew up in a small town, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I think because I grew up in that area, I didn't fully understand the world.
and not knowing how to read, it only taught me about that neighborhood only. I didn't know anything else out of that, really. It was really confusing. Fast forward, after going to prison and putting myself through many different schools and getting in so much trouble as I was growing up, after about 6 years after I got out of prison and doing the same thing when I got out of prison, I just decided, pandemic hit, and the platform became leveled, meaning when I was growing up, people took off. They went to college. They got good jobs. They did the stuff that society told them to do so they can get through life. And when it's all over, they can probably look back and still regret it all because they're like, why did I do all that? It didn't really matter. But you did it. Doesn't matter. You had something that let you get through life. You were set up good. I didn't have that. So at 2020, everybody got on the same level. I guarantee you changed something in pandemic. People on here, they all started to, if you were smart, you shifted, you changed. The whole world had to change financially, mentally, physically, emotionally. At that time, from a person who's been behind so long, I knew I was lying, cheating, stealing, making things up to get through. I didn't have to do it no more. I could immediately just stop doing all my antics. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're a doctor and you're homeless now? Oh my gosh, you're a senator and you're not even important no more? Oh, you're a celebrity and you're on TikTok screaming about your life being messed up? I'm on here watching P. Diddy and people who weren't supposed to be messed up. And I'm like, at that moment, it clicked. And I was like, this is your time. This is your time to be reborn. You're 33 years old right now, but you're technically newborn into the world. Create now, but create with a consciousness. When that happened to the world, it was just like I was a baby again, but I have the intelligence of an adult now. I could change my whole world. I could create TikTok to be a movie star. And I pretty much almost did it. Like my mind was like, I'm going to be the biggest motivational speaker in the world. I'm going to learn to read. I'm like, that wouldn't be a thing without pandemic and all that happening. The world stopped. So it allowed me to say, go ahead. You got a whole year to go ahead and do it. No one's doing nothing. So that whole year, when everybody was probably drinking and doing it, I was reading. I was like, I'm catching up. I don't care. And then when it kind of trickled into the new wave of like, now we're all digital. Like, I don't know if people realize this, but our friends are digital. Everything's digital. I don't even see nobody no more. I just see you on camera all day, every day now. Everything became that overnight, like a second. It made people who are like Gen Zs and don't have like professional mindsets create live TikTok millionaires now. TikTok here, Instagram. I'm seeing it and I'm like, you don't got to go to school. This is the brand new life right now. This is, 2020 made a new start for like become a movie starter on TikTok and be big as Brad Pitt. That is that's yes. Someone can do that. You couldn't do that in the 90s, or you had to go to Hollywood. You had to go to here. You can go in your living room and start cooking, and now you're bigger than these cooking shows that are on TV that we used to watch on day. When you watch Martha Stewart and all that stuff, you could be Shirley in your kitchen cooking chicken in an old apartment, and you big right now, huge, bigger than Martha Stewart. That's our new time. I've seen that, and I'm like, no, I'm not waiting. This is my time right now to figure out, like, I could be a motivational speaker and be up there reading bad speeches just because I'm a TikTok star. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. You had to be perfect. You had to be suit and tie. I go into these places. They ask me, what you do? I be in their professional buildings and everything. They be like, well, how do you get to come here looking like this? I be in there like this, t-shirt, hair all messed up, and a camera. They be like, what do you do? And I tell them, I'm a TikTok star. I'm an influencer. They look at me and they're like, what is that? Like, is it college or is there any? I'm like, I'm probably gonna make more than you, or maybe even just the same amount, and I won't even have to show up as a fake person because in 2020 I got to be me and create a new world for me. And now look I'm viral for not knowing how to read. They couldn't do that in the 90s. They would have made fun of me. That would have been all over all this stuff. They would have done all this. Now it's like, you're amazing. Go be bad at what you do. I'm like, this is my time. Let's go.
So thank you for sharing that with us, Oliver. So there are over 8 million functionally illiterate individuals, like, in the US. And so to be so open, right, be so transparent. Like that was a big deal
Yeah.
to share, to say, to open it up saying, hey, you know, my name is Oliver and I don't know how to read. I mean, what I don't know if I could have been so open and transparent with the world, because literally that's what you did with the world. It
Yeah.
wasn't like you were just in your community and you showed up to a library and say, "Hey, I can't," you decided on one of the biggest platforms in the world to tell everyone that you had reading challenges.
Yep. Yep.
And so what gave you the courage to be able to do that?
It's hard to explain, but there's so many different things that added up. When I took that moment in time in 2020 to think, it was an add up of repetitive things, like, and all those things until this day now I can see it, and it's hard now. And realizing that even the things people are right about, they're not right about. It's just what they perceive to be like the thing right now that makes more sense. You get what I'm saying? Like if I walked out of my house, my living room, and I just poured milk on my floor, the reaction to that is what causes so much of these things. And I had to understand that. Basically saying like my intention was to just do what I did, and I did it. But the reaction, your family, the people, you start to see it. Like your lady might be like, why would you do this? And you're like, then by the time the day goes by, your family, your friends, and people, you're like, I started this day with a purpose act of me wanting to pour milk on the floor. By the end of the day, everyone else had something to say about what I wanted to do. That's exactly, and you do it. You can be a person right now. You're like, I'm just gonna walk in my kitchen and pour. Someone will come in, a husband, and they'll be like, "Why would you do that?" Or a kid does it, and you're like, "That's right there, right there." You'll be like, Why does life have to always be someone else's like input? Someone, and no matter what, even if you're like, Why did it have to be that? And I seen that, and I was like, if you could see it down to the part where it's bickering in your own household or your own friendships, then you can see the world bigger. You can see there, like, you will never take on nothing, because when you go to do something, the world's gonna throw things at you, even though you knew, I just wanted to spill milk on the floor. That's it. There was nothing about it. I wanted to do this for me. But everyone else will have something. That shouldn't do that. This milk shouldn't do this. Yelling here. You find yourself, in a week later, you're like, I just got this. What happened? I forgot what the purpose of this whole thing was. You're like, well, think back. What did you want to do? I just wanted to pour milk on the floor. Then what happened? Everybody else had something to say. Everybody else had something to put in. Your whole life turned upside down from everyone else. Even though that, like that action was purposeful, but you forget it. You forget everything you were willing to do for yourself, everything you wanted to do for you, because everyone comes in. So at that moment, I was like, I don't know what it was, but I still feel it to this day. And I see the world like it is. Like, it's made up. So everyone's running around acting like they know something when they don't know nothing. You're just making it up. Like if someone tells you that's a car, you immediately will argue with your significant other for years about them telling you it's a truck. You're like, oh, it's a car. You're like, you really? Someone said that when they made the car 100 and some years ago, and drunk in a bar or something. They didn't even know what the word was. And then now you argue it like you think that is exactly what it is. You can't let go of the fact that someone made it that, and you're like, that's exactly what it is, and it has to be that way. When I seen that, I was like, this is why people don't do the things they really want to do. Don't tell their truths, because they know everyone's gonna come in with their input and try to tell them what they need to do with their life. When you floating in this planet in space, doing things that people tell you to do just because you do it, but not because you want to do it. Because if you did what you want to do, the whole world will come at you. And it'd be like that, like little things. You're like, I just wanted to spill the milk. Like, why is everybody saying something? You're like, because they can't say nothing, because they're programmed to react to the spilled milk the way they've been programmed to do it. They don't know another way. Like, wow, that's amazing how that milk comes out that carton. They would not be able to do it. They have to react the way their mom did, their cousins did, their sister when they were growing up. When I seen that, I was like, this is not about nobody else. When you go on there and read what anybody says, right, that they don't know how to react. Their parents and people have given them a reaction to life that's not real. It's not a real reaction. It's just what society told you to react. You stub a toe, you react how you react. You might scream and jump, but that's not how you really should react. You just react that way because you've seen it in a movie. You seen your mom do it and you knew pain, that's what it was. But if your mom kissed her foot and rubbed it as a kid for years, you would kiss and rub your foot at 40 years old right now.
Mm.
But since you jump up and scream and say "F you, mother," because your mom and dad and sisters and brothers and movies did that, so you don't know how to react to a stubbed toe. And if you reacted nice, like, "Oh, my so amazing toe," you know what the world will say? That you're not supposed to react like that. That you just stubbed your toe. You should scream. And I'm like, because the world told you that, and you don't know how to react to a stubbed toe. That's that. It's literally just like that. And that's what I started to realize. Tell the world whatever they want, because they don't know how to react. No one in the world knows how to react. They're gonna react the way the world told them. If the world told them being smart is reading, they're gonna be like, you're stupid because you don't know how to read, because the world told them that. And they'll run with that for 100 years until one day they'll be like, oh my gosh, reading has nothing to do with intelligence. You're like, not completely. Like it intertwines, but you just were told that, so you just push that message. And this person over here believed they were stupid because you told them that. Like it's literally a bunch of trickery. And I started to see I cannot listen to nobody but me, regardless if the information is good or bad. I have to listen to me. That's it.
So, as you were talking, of course, uh, online, listen, we all know that the web, all of social
Mhm.
media, everybody has an opinion. And so it
Yep.
doesn't change. Those opinions don't change because you've gone on social media. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, they kind of are more concentrated, right?
Yep.
Because you're opening yourself up to a wider group of people all at
Mhm.
one time. And so how does the and so I would gather that there is a little bit of pressure, right,
Mm.
with the public attention.
Mhm.
And so how do you handle, because I know that there are positive comments and negative comments. How do you
Yep.
handle both the positive and the negative aspects of being in the spotlight?
They don't get, I hear celebrities and people say this stuff like they don't give you the blueprint of what this is. Like it's not a real thing. It's just a resilience against the world. That's what celebrities are. Your biggest hype celebrities, they're just resilient. You look at like a Kim Kardashian and all, you ever notice how resilient they are to negativity? You start to realize you're like, it's not about nobody but them. They realize that. They've come to an understanding like, hey, I'm not saying they got every answer right, but they've gotten the answer right that this world is filled with negativity. Like I can't explain it. It's filled with it. You have to be the light within that negativity. Even I'm telling you, it's gotten so scary to the point where I started to realize I'm like, this is really dangerous because I love my mom, but my mom's gonna leave me one day. Nobody taught me how to react to that. I barely know how to react to an argument. How am I gonna react to my mom dying? They don't teach us young black men and these people. They don't teach us that. We just go on about life. One day mom dies and then we mad as hell, gang banging. Like because no one taught us. Like your mom was gonna die. You're like what? You're like she was going to die. She should have talked to you and worked with you and said things and taught you things so you knew this world and understood the way this world is. We all gonna die one day. And everybody's running around just playing and then throwing their inputs and just putting their 2 cents because they bored. You don't got nothing to do. You floating in this planet. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go do taxes? Go pay bills? Be a black person, even though I'm brown? Like, you just make everything's made up. So when you look at that, you're like, I can't. In order for me to dismantle from what all these things that have been put on me, I wouldn't be a human in society. I'll be an animal or something if I dismantle all this. I'll be climbing in a tree eating apples or something. That's why some people lose their mind because they're like, I fell into this program of life and I never figured it out. I just been running. That's me. Fell into this program of life. And I'm like, if you didn't get the program structure, that's why they had it for you. You find yourself on the outskirts of like society, looking at people with big houses and mansions, and then there's a homeless person right here, and they're like, they can't even see like what's this like they can't see nothing. And I'm like, no, they can't because they went through the system. And the system told them this is exactly how it goes, and it worked out for them. So they can't see anything outside of that. You know what I mean? Like they think the world is taxes, bills, doctor, lawyer, went to school. They don't know they floating in space. They don't know that this is a real life here. They don't have no idea about that. And when I see that, I'm like, this whole thing is fake. It's not real. Like we make a big deal out of it. We wars, bombs, this, and I'm like, but that's all ego. It just blew up a whole place because of an ego trip. I'm like, I know what an ego trip looks like. I've been there angry when some woman says something I don't like, and then I F you B word. I'm like, why'd you do that? I'm like, because she made you feel like a little boy. I'm like, well, this person felt like a little boy and pushed a button and blew up a whole country. You'd be like, oh my God. why is that like that? You're like, because that's the real world. And you start to realize, I'm like, but I thought that person was so smart. And this, I'm like, no, they're posing the same way you did. When you were able to pose and lie and do all that and pump fake and what do you do that code switch? You could do that. Come on camera and be like, hey everybody, I'm Oliver James. I'm a sophisticated African American. Like, you can do that. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not. That's not real. That's not a real thing. When people see that, they're like, I'm acting every time you pick up a phone call, every time you go to you know that, but you don't forgot. I didn't, because I didn't have to do that. I was already living in slumps and poor, and I never had to come into the sophisticated world and pump fake and do those things. I did it in a non-reading way, lying, cheating, manipulating, stealing, doing things that will get me by with what I learned on my own. When I realized, I'm like, you're doing society's work. You're just doing it in a way that you taught yourself, not the way the society taught you. When I seen that, I seen all the rules. I start to see all the things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's no way I'll ever get all this, that this is not designed for me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but now that you're aware of it, at least now you can sit back and just, in some way, you can cope with yourself. I've gotten to a place now where I'm like, I will never be able to be some suit and tie, sophisticated, golfing white dude or something. I'm not that. That algorithm was made up for that. Then I'll see a black guy doing the same thing, and I'm like, he learned how to do it. He learned how to Carlton. He learned how did he do it? How does he stay in character for so long? I don't know how to explain it, but I'm like, if you really went deep into that person, they wouldn't want to be doing this. They're only doing this because the world is set up that way, and they learned how to, in some way, grab onto it and be a part of it. That's it. You see it, and you're like, you don't know nothing about golf and all. I'm like, you think you do because you grew up in this neighborhood and all. I'm like, no, that's dumb. That's this stuff for them. And then you fell into it real good. But when push comes to shove and something changes, you'll see. You're like, I was never supposed to be on this dang golf course. I'm like, nope. But you fell in real good. You were really good at code switching, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like I'm done. I didn't want to code switch. I didn't want to be the Will Smith of interviews no more. And I didn't want to be the token black guy. I don't want to have this. I don't want it. I didn't want none of that. It's all fake. So when I seen that, I was like, I'm going for me. I'm going to do my own thing. And then that's when you see it, like you can go that route and have stress, anxiety, panic, or you could take another route and get rid of that stuff and figure out how to do it on your own. Figure out how to do it for yourself. And that's where all this is coming in. Everything you see, this mantic person that you got going on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. We are going to take a really quick break, but when we get back, I want us to talk about what I read was one of the first books that you read. And I want some feedback on that. So
okay.
Take a sip. If you have water in your cup, take a sip of that. Y'all, we're going to do some housekeeping, and then we'll be right back with some more conversation with Oliver James.
Cool.
Hey, y'all. So connect. I'm going to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Again, we're at Cara Solutions LLC on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Inspired by Cara on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can head over to our website at www.cara-solutions.com or www.getinspired.live to find out all about Cara Solutions and about Inspire. You can also listen later on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. We are Inspired by Cara on all of those platforms. And if you're an entrepreneur, influencer, creative, or other individual on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same, we want you to be our guest. If you know someone that is doing that, we want them to be our guest. So join us in conversation on a future episode of Inspire. You can visit us at www.getinspired.live to book your appearance today. And I want to just give a shout out to all of you who are still kind of hanging out, watching with us. If you have questions for Oliver, please feel free to post them. I'll make sure that he has the opportunity to respond to those questions before we end our discussion today. But that's that quick housekeeping. I want to thank you again for joining us, and we're going to get back to our conversation with Oliver James.
Don't be nobody else. If you look in the mirror, are you dressing like somebody you've seen on TV? Are you talking like somebody you've seen that you like? That's not you. Who are you? Who do you want to dress like? What do you want to wear? Where do you want to go? You choose that. Don't look at your favorite celebrities or best friend or cousin and hairdo and all. What do you want? What kind of guy you want to be with? What woman you want to hang around with? You choose that. And if nobody wants to, you do it alone.
If nobody wants you, you do it alone. I love that, Oliver. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we're gonna talk about so I read somewhere, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the first book you owned was 365 quotes to live your life by. Is that correct?
Yep.
So what was your favorite quote in that book? And how has it influenced where you are today?
Well, there was a really like simple quote that I kind of heard when I was a kid, but when I was reading it, it made more sense. But like the quote from Martin Luther King, but like if you can't run, then crawl. If you can't crawl, then walk. If you can't walk, then run. But all means, keep moving forward. Like when that was the first quote that I worked on. I think it was one of the first ones in there, and I kind of already knew it, but I just was working with it because I knew it already. And then from there, I decided that I was going to study quotes and do something like that. Opened the door, and then I stumbled upon a podcast one time that said a quote that got like right after this quote, I want to read more quotes. And the guy was on the podcast and he was like saying something, and he was saying it and he was talking. And out of nowhere, he goes, man, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. And immediately I just was like, I rewinded it. I'm just like, what? I'm like, what do you mean by that? And I couldn't understand it. I was like, what? What do you mean hide something? You can't hide. I'm like, you mean hide? And at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm going to go read more quotes. And I started to read more quotes and kept going. And that's when I started to realize I was like, wow. I was like, if you wanted to know the ways to enslave a mind, just put it in a place where people won't look. And I realized that I was just like, we got out of slavery as African Americans, but they were intelligent. They knew. They were like, we just don't show them where books are. We can even tell them, go read, go do something, but they won't. I'm like, because they're programmed to go do this, eat this, drink this, dance here, go to this place. That's what they're programmed to do. I was like, they're not going to change it. And I can see that because I'm one of those people who is changing my program. And I'm like, my dad suffers from this. My mom's mom, my dad's dad. I'm like, how far did it go? I was like, so slavery wasn't that long ago. I'm like, so some type of slavery. My father's from Jamaica. So I'm like, he came from Jamaica wildly crazy. So I'm like in his like 20s. So I'm like thinking about all this stuff. And I'm like, we chased Cadillacs, Escalades when I was growing up. They showed us it, gold chains, platinum. We still kind of do it. You see the images. And we chased that because it was showing some promising like outlook for us as a community, as an African American person. But that was scraps in a barrel, man. I didn't even understand it. I wanted to be the rappers and stuff so bad. And I was just looking, I'm like, no, you got to really look deep into it. And I seen that all the information, all the things from our ancestors, all the stuff that will help us catapult, not only as just a race, but as a whole entire society. And I'm like, they're in these little secret places in the middle of your city called a library. And no one you ever think about that? Like no gang bangings at the library. You don't see people showing up there shooting up the library no, because no one even goes there. They don't even know it's there. You think about that, you'd be like, the answers to your Escalade, to your platinum, all that, it's in the library. And you would be like, no, I got to go out here and get this money on the street, or I got to go do this over here. I'm like, no, just go read at the library for like 5 years. Like, but really read, like really focus and read things that will help you change your life. In 5 years, you will be the person you're talking about. I'm going to be exactly who I said I'm going to be. I'm already it. I told myself I'm going to be one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. I'm going to learn how to read. I'm on your show right now. I've been on shows. I'm crazy with this. I don't care because in my mind, I understand. I'm like, this is the answer. You can't tell me I'm not going to be one of the biggest, most successful, amazing people in the world. I got books. I got The Secret. You playing around. The Secret's in the library. And people literally be sitting there broke, homeless. Me too. I'm on welfare right now. You think I'm staying on this? I got The Secret. You know The Secret if you've been reading. You're like, I know how to get myself somewhere. But, not everybody knows how to do that. I'm like, why? Because they don't read. They don't understand how to connect those dots. I remember not knowing this. I remember sitting around being like a zombie, like Frankenstein, just making things up. And now I'll be here like, oh my gosh, I have internal dialogue and monologue and things. I'm like, I'm going to create a business. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to write a book. I'm like, how did I know how to do all this? I'm like, because you started reading. I don't even know how to do it, and I'm going to do it. I'm telling you, I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, how are you going to do it? Because I started reading. When you start reading, you get the answers. I can't give them to you because you don't read. But if you read out there, you'll know. But if you don't read, you'll be like, what is he talking about? Read for a year through all the pain, all of it. And I guarantee you'll be like, I got answers. I'll be whatever I want now. I'm like, why? Because you started reading. But you're also going to get the pain that comes with learning to read too. And I didn't understand that.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. What are some of your favorite books?
My favorite book I think right now would probably have to be The Giver. I read The Giver, and I think that was one of my favorites. I didn't read that many. I read 68 books this year. So I didn't read, I don't know if that's a lot or not, but
Yeah,
so
you
far
have a goal of 100, yeah?
Yeah,
100
100.
books this year?
Yep. So I read 68 so far. One of my favorite was The Giver. Another one of mine that was like a favorite of like just like for me that I know I'm happy I got the book is the UOU book by Eric Thomas. Just to see someone who tells a story in such a passionate way, regardless, like I admire that. Like I admire the fact that he can harness that energy of positivity and abundance and deliver it. And because I feel that. I feel it in me, even though I'm not abundantly happy and all healed. I'm not this healed person. You know, I don't know how to handle somebody talks back to me. I want to slap them. But I sit there and I'm like, no, that's not. That's you start to learn like those things. I didn't know that. If someone says something ignorant to me, I'm not saying I'm that dude, but I get angry and I will be like, F you, fight, we do it. And I'm like, now I'm like, that's dumb. I will never argue with somebody because I don't want to argue. I don't want to. So meaning, what if the argument is purposeful? Like, what if there's a purpose? There is no purpose for an argument that I don't want to have. There is never a purpose for it. So when you sit there, you look at that, I'm like, I'm starting to realize that is a programming. You got it. Because some people in this world will be like, bickering and arguing, that's a part of life. No, that's a choice. And people don't, I wasn't taught this. People are like, you got to do. I'm like, no. Just a choice. Do you want to argue ever? You'd be like, no. Why do you do it? Because my partner or because my son or I'm like, that's dumb. They doing that. You could sit there and just be happy. And I'm like, I never been taught that. I'm like, so I ain't got to be a part of someone else. Someone call you today. My husband broke up with me and cheated on with my cousin. Sucks to be you. Hey, call me when you positive again. Somebody be like, I hate you. You so mean. I'm like, no, you called me and tried to change my beautiful day. I ain't got no husband. I ain't got nothing. My day was beautiful, amazing, and it's gonna stay that way. And if you want to be a part of it, you'll call me back when you over that, and we're gonna talk about positive and happy stuff. I didn't understand that. And that's a real harsh way of looking at it, but that's a truthful thing you can do that I did not understand. I thought I had to be a part of everybody's problems. And now I'm sitting here realizing, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the power that reading gives you it's beyond anything humans can fathom in the physical world. It's magic. It is. It's literally magic. And even the higher people who are running the countries and stuff, they're still like, man, these books is, that's why when people are like, why do you think they banning books? I'm like, why do you think? Because there's sex in it? I'm like, no. Because they understand if people start reading these books, intelligent world, successful people, more coping mechanisms, emotional intelligence. I don't know if the world really wants that because of the way the world works. You need people to do dumb things to keep the world running. People who go buy things and spend money and do that keeps the rich people rich. So they need you dumb. If you're smart, you ain't gonna spend your money and do certain things. You won't have this thing running the way it needs to run. So that's when I started to realize, I'm like, hey, as much as people want you to learn to read, Oliver, I'm like, there's a very, higher force trying to stop it because that means no yachts sometimes, maybe no private jets, certain things. I'm like, why? Because people will be intelligent enough to not care about a damn Rolls Royce when a Honda Accord or something takes you to the same place. So they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have to drive a Ferrari. Like, no, you can drive a $30,000 hybrid. Wow. Like, I'm that dude though. I'm from the streets. I'm like, and you from the streets in the Prius. You'd be like, what? Huh? I'm like, it's a program. It's in your head. Go get you that cheaper car. Go save your money. Go read. They'd be like, I'm like, then you start to see it like, do you really want to do that? Or do you like hitting the clubs? Do you like cheating? Do you like doing this? Because I'm telling you, I'm one of those people. I'm like, I'm now in both worlds. And I sit here and can tell you, I enjoyed that world. I enjoy hitting the clubs and seeing girls shake their ass. I enjoy people, going in there and throwing some money at the, strip clubs. I enjoyed it because that was the world that was shown to me. When I seen that there's more than that world, it was hard to sit back and be like, all right, let's go be non-misogynistic. Let's go not be a cheater. Let's not be manipulative. Like, it's impossible. My mom's a manipulator. My dad's a cheater. I'm like, how do I do this? Where's the blueprint? Like there's
Mhm.
nothing there for you. That's when you start to realize, I'm like, you literally are programmed to be this person. And how do you feel being it? Felt like crap. And now
Mhm.
look at me. I'm a complete maniac to many people, but I'm happy. You know what I mean? I get up every morning. I'm like, let's go. I'm like, oh, Oliver, you broke. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I'm a smiling broke dude. Like, why? Because I've realized I don't live for y'all no more. I'm living for me. I'm over here learning, baby. I'm growing. I'm showing that. You can't put a price on that. I'm trying to give
Yeah.
everybody that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You talked so much about conditioning and programming
Yeah.
and mindset, and it's clear that your own mindset, right, has enabled you to stay positive, right?
Yeah.
Having this growth mindset, having this persevering mindset has enabled you to stay positive and to not give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
When things get hard. What we
100%.
haven't touched on yet is this uh, discussion about mental health. And so,
Mm-hmm.
October is Mental Health Awareness Month, among other things. And you have been very open, very transparent about your mental health
Mm-hmm.
across your social media platforms. So, can you share a little bit more about your personal journey in addressing your mental health and how has it affected your life?
Well, mental health is something that I've been dealing with my entire life. When I started to learn how to read, I started to understand that I had mental health issues, how to accept it, how to you just be exactly what you know something's not right. And I suffer from, OCD is one of the big things I suffer from my whole life, which causes many other things. But, from going through so much in my life, being uh, abused by my teacher, going to prison, I got PTSD and trauma. I don't even know what the thing is I'm trying to explain to you. And I really want to talk on this in a real open way for people out there who are suffering as well. And it's not words and letters to them, it's their life. Those letters, your words, all that stuff, I get it. They're there to help you understand. But you and I and the person who's probably going through these things know this is an ongoing battle that you wake up with, you live with, you go to sleep with. It doesn't, you just learn some things with it. But I really want to talk about the fact that this is something that they don't talk about. They're not going to tell you completely like what's going on. Like you're going to have to figure that one out yourself. And even when they be like, you got OCD, no, go figure out more. You got anxiety, go figure out more. You have to do that. So learning to read, I don't think people get it. But you want to know one of the biggest drivers that pushed me to learn to read, and that's my mental health. When I discovered I had mental health issues, to accept it, like this is I'm just telling you my thing. Someone out here might be, they do things that you're like, wow, I can't believe they did that. Like that's so bad. I'm like, it's bad because society has shown you that's not good. And from your feelings and the way you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, that's not good. But there's something deeper in there. That person mentally doesn't understand the way you understand. That something's missing that caused them to do that. They probably could have avoided that, but we're not living in a world where they're accepted as themselves. So they can't. They do irrational things like with their thoughts and their minds, and you can't go off of that. Even when you hurt yourself, hurt somebody else, you see it every day. Mental health is a big thing. You see people, celebrities, rich people, people who are in important positions. You're like, why is this happening? I'm like, because they're not able to express what they got going on inside. We got people right now. I'm not one of those people. We have people right now who are running our worlds, doing certain things, but they like to do things that you and I be like, I can't believe you do that. But they've never been taught about their mental state of mind. In the truth, they never had to. If they were born into power, why would they have to change their mental state of mind? They're born in the power. I was born in the hood, watching girls, wearing Jordans, going to the clubs, VIP with 10 people, and we all split in the money and act like we got something going on. Like, I was born into this world, frauding it, doing it. So even the women entertained it. They dated me in it. They looked for me. They came to the club to find me. It's all one thing. When I seen that, I'm like, well, what you think is any different from a person who's, higher up? They're in that same world. Only difference is they're not going to a club and hear lower vibrational stuff. They going through a whining, and a private party with hors d'oeuvres and stuff and all that. Like, what I'm basically saying is mentally, there's no difference. But in that circumstance, a lot of people will look at it and say, This is the higher way of living unhealthy. Let's go up here and live unhealthy. Like that's why a lot of our celebrities and people, they're like, you see them, they're like, don't come up here. Like it ain't what you thought it was. Like why? Because I was lied to too. It's all one big game. Like it's all one big trick. Figure your thing out mentally. Don't go on these big tangents. Figure yourself out mentally. What is the things that make you feel good, make you get up in the morning and say, I could do this. Like I'm completely broke. And I get up and you see, Oliver, you got up. I've been up since 4 a.m. happy, ready to go. Because I got a purpose. I've learned reading, motivational speaker. I'm like, I'm going somewhere. I don't care what money I make. If it comes, cool. But I can see, I'm like, you have a gift. If you practice this and polished yourself up, cut your hair, token black eyed, oh my God, Coca-Cola probably be calling. You viral online. You could be on shows. I could be on all types of sitcoms and shows, but I'm too wild. I got the dreads out. I'm not fully polished, so they don't give me those calls like, let's get that guy on there. But I trick them in many ways because I speak intelligent. I can code switch and speak very articulate. That's what I'm doing right now. That's not how I really talk. This is how I give it to you. But that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, how far do you want to go, Oliver? That's mental health. That's mental. That's me being like, okay, I can go right now, cut my dreads, start exercising, get me a nice suit, and I can literally lie and speak in a way where people be like, you're an intelligent African American, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, I'm only doing all this so I can get this job. And you know, and I know both know that, but that's mental health. That's mental issues. I know. I'm like, you lying this whole way. Your boss, you don't went to his party. You done met his wife. You done everything. I'm like, that's not mental issues. I'm like, no, that's normal. I just need to make some money. I'm never go home and talk to my wife and be like, I hate that damn boss. It's terrible. That's mental issues. You got to work on that. You can't just think that you're going to go to work and be that way and then come home and not be that way with your wife. You a liar at work. You a liar at home. You can't do it. You got to see it. And that's the thing I started to see. People will be like, I just do that at work. I'm like, it's impossible. You can't just do that at work. You do that everywhere. You just don't know it. You don't see it. You woke up in the morning, you'll be like, I'm not going to do the things I used to do. Then you will see chaos. Then you will start to say, I'm not going to go to that job that boss does the things to me no more. I'm going to quit. I'm going to get a new job. Yeah, chaos. Chaos. You wouldn't do it. Many people in there, they'd be like, you wouldn't do it. Even though you hate it, even though you know your mental is not right. But people would literally be sitting here like, I'm going to therapy. I'm like, why don't you just quit your job? And start to be like, oh, I can't do it. I'm like, that's it. That's it, right? Like, not your job, but you have mental issues because of the choices that you're making. They're not yours. Never been yours. They've never been yours, even though you're in this position. And that's when I started to see him like mental health is in our society. So people have to be aware of even you going to work, hating your boss, who's a complete whatever he is, hating this, and then smiling in front of people's faces, and then get home and then acting here. And then you have a nervous breakdown in the car because your kid did something. Then you're like, oh my gosh, mental health. Like this is mental. I'm like, yes, even the society of ways of life, school, work, it's causing you mental health issues. And people don't get it. They're just sitting there thinking, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm like, you know how many rich people I live around here who have their nannies at a park? They don't see their kids for the first 18 years. And they think that they're going to have a healthy relationship. It's all made up. It's fake. You're going to grow up one day and be like, all this was the bills, the taxes, all. I'm like, no, those kids are going to be sitting there and be like, what was all that? That wasn't even real, Mom. Why'd you do that? And you're like, because I had to put a roof over your head and do this. And you see that. Then you look at the adult, our moms and us growing up, mental health issues. We the ones sitting around anxiety, going to therapy. I'm like, why? A lot of us have this. Probably even you yourself. You'd be sitting there like, what if I was to shift and change? Or if you ever did it, you might have had a corporate job or something and say, I'm going to shift and change it. Then you see. That's why a lot of people you'll see are like, oh my gosh, like they're going through something. Mental health issues. They need to be on medication. I'm like, no, they're just realizing they want to live as them. And when they start to live as them, they see all the mental problems that were put on them. All the things. So if I fall in line and start being the person that the world told me to be, you wouldn't see as many mental health issues. I'll keep them inside. I will be token on TV. I'll be perfectly groomed up. Everything will be fine. But on the back end, I'll be a train wreck. But I'll be able to come on camera and be perfectly fine for you every single day because I've been mentally programmed to do that. That's mental issues. You have mental issues. You don't even know it.
Thank you for sharing. So finally, as you get ready to wrap up, what advice would you have for other individuals who are facing their own challenges, right? Whether it's learning to read or pursuing other goals, what advice would you have for them today?
To take the things that I'm saying and many other people say, because I'm not saying nothing that Martin Luther King didn't say, Malcolm X didn't say, these people, Nelson Mandela, I done heard the movies, watched the things. I ain't even got to read to know they said this stuff. And we all did the same thing. You had a couple people who, even back in those days, were like, oh, look at him doing that. He gonna get killed. Yo, they're marching with them white people. Yo, you know how it was? And he did it and changed the history of time. And now we all get to sit here, and not just him, but many other people. But just that changed the history of us being able to have something. When is it gonna come a time when people start just being like, hey man, like, I'm gonna start living like me. I'm gonna start living like me. So I want people to understand out there, live like you. And it might come with you losing your job, losing your husband, losing your parents, losing everybody in your life. Your kids might not even like you, but you'll like you. And that's all that matters. Once you realize that, you'll be like, oh my gosh, even the people you've been around, they'll start to change. They'll start to grow. They'll start to change. Because if not, they'll fall off. And that's why I want to tell people, live as you. Be you. I know you might have something going on where you're like, man, this is working for me. I'm like, but mental health, I keep telling y'all, is it working? Or does it look like it's working? Like when you look at like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, I'm like, it looks like it's working. But I'm trying to tell you, he's floating in the same space as us. He's in the same planet on the same thing. I'm like, you might think his money or his things are nothing. That's fake. It came from a tree. They cut it down. They gave it to him. That's all it. But mentally, they losing it. They think the whole thing is real. The whole thing that everybody got going on is real. And I want to tell people out there, I'm like, don't be, just don't be disillusioned by things that aren't real. Be you. If colors don't even match, don't match them. You be like, you grew up, everybody, I got to match. Blue goes to blue and green. No, wear any dang color. Don't even wear the shirt. I don't like it. Change it. And I tell people this because they're like, but if you're in your mind thinking like, I ain't going to do that, that's why I'm telling you to do it. Because you're on this planet and you're doing one thing. You be like, I'm married and that's it. I'm like, get married 100 times. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying if that's what you want to do, do it while you're on this planet. I'm telling you to do it. And people be like, why can't you? Why you gonna die? You're not gonna be here forever. Go get it, do it. But I tell people that, like, follow you. I'm not saying that's what you want to do, but if that's some people want to do that and they be married, wanting to be single, think of that. Because the world told them that. I'm like, no, get divorced and do the thing. Do it. Like, why? Because you'll save a lot more lives being you. You know what you cause in this family? You know what's happening here? And that's what I'm telling you. I'm seeing that even for my own self. I'm telling people in this world, and you know that, everyone know that, be you. But focus on it down to the core. If you don't, then you'll still find yourself on that surface level following people and not even knowing it. Living good too, but still feeling like, I need to see my therapist. I need to take this. I'm like, why? Because you're not being you. Be yourself.
I love that. Live like you, be you. That's an excellent, excellent message to close out on. What is coming up for you and how can we support you?
Well, you can go to all my social media handles, just like this on all my platforms. It's Oliver Speaks with the number 1. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. I think it's X now, so I always get that mixed up.
It is X.
Yeah, I think. And you can follow me on there. And be on the lookout right now. I'm in the process of growing my motivational speaking career. So I'll be, touring and going as many places that my mental capacity can take me. I'm a wild person, so I'm just calling everybody. I'm going wild. I'm gonna get everywhere and everywhere. So if you could find yourself at, one of my speeches or, anywhere I end up coming to a city near you, I would really appreciate it. And be on the lookout of a book coming too. So I'll be bringing some books. I got a lot coming. A book's coming too. A book is coming. We not leaving this earth. If I'm breathing, a book's coming. So be on the lookout. Like, is he writing a book? You're dang right. He is writing a book. Every day I'm out here, trust me, doodling things down. I got me a book coming.
Listen. And we'll have you back to talk about that book once it launches. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, for sharing your life with us, for sharing your insight with us. You are truly an inspiration, Oliver. And the world is better that you are in it. And we appreciate you so much. Our listeners appreciate it. Everything that you have to say. And we'll be watching. We'll be following. So make sure you follow Oliver Speaks, the number 1 across all social media platforms. Let's support this brother as he continues his journey towards literacy, motivational speaking. And we didn't even talk about your personal training, but he also does that too. So head over to one of his social media pages and you can find out more about him. Thank you so much again, Oliver. We look forward to seeing all of the greatness that comes from you in the future. Thank you so much again for joining.
Thank you.
So we are at the end of another episode of Inspire. Thank you all for joining us, for sharing, for talking in the chat, for engaging in the chat. Listen, we're so grateful. Inspire would not be what it is without each and every one of you. Remember to go ahead and follow Oliver across social media platforms. And again, if you know someone, if you know someone that would be a good fit for Inspire, let us know about them. Let us know about them. Head over to www.getinspired.live to book your appearance today. That is it. That is all for us. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, I want you to stay lifted. I want you to stay motivated. And most of all, I want you to stay inspired. Have a great week.